Hello, welcome back to Pasadena In Focus. I'm your host, Yosio Montes with the City of Pasadena. Today, we'll be covering the Pasadena Public Works and Pasadena Police Department. Stay tuned.
It's Pasadena In Focus.
Tonight's guest, Petschauer, Susana Porras,
Plus shop local and Pasadena Humane.
The first guest on the show is Susana Porras with the Pasadena Police Department. Welcome to the show, Susana.
Thank you, Yosio.
Yeah, well, let's talk PD. What is the Pasadena Police Department doing in the community this year?
So we have a lot going on in the Pasadena Police Department. We have over 150 educational programs and presentations and community programs that we put on throughout the entire year. And they can be something as small as a classroom visit or a station tour, or maybe a presentation, or something as big as Trunk or Treat, where we host 1,500 people over in Centennial Square. So we really do have a lot of opportunities to engage with the community, and we're always inviting the community to come out and pay a visit to us.
Speaking about programs, tell us about the Community Police Academy.
The Community Police Academy, or CPA as we call it, is actually something that's very near and dear to me. I moved into a neighborhood many, many years ago that was experiencing many quality of life issues. There was a lot of drugs, gangs, and crime and violence. And at the time, I really didn't have the tools or the wherewithal or the knowledge to figure out how to even begin solving these issues. And one of the first departments that I reached out to was the Pasadena Police Department. And I quickly learned that the problems actually weren't the drugs and the violence and the gangs and the crime. Those were just a symptom, right? The big problem was actually the lack of community. And I remember my area lieutenant asking me if I knew my neighbors. And I was very embarrassed I didn't, right? And there's a huge problem when you don't know your neighbors. If you don't know your neighbors, you don't know who to lean on, you don't know who to ask for help, you don't know how to begin solving problems. And more importantly, you don't know who should or shouldn't be in your neighborhood. And so one of their first suggestions was for me to join the Community Police Academy. And so I did back then it used to be a 12-week program. It's an 8-week program now. And not only did I learn about all of the different sections of the police department and how they work with each other and how they integrate into the community, but I learned how to create a community in my own neighborhood. And it was really the beginning of me networking with members of the entire community that were all trying to do the same thing that I was. And so that was a very incredible experience. And so we offer this program 3 times a year, twice in English and once in Spanish. The next one that's coming up is our Spanish CPA, and it's offered on Thursdays for 8 weeks from 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And again, like I said, you get to learn about all of the different sections of the police department. You get to engage with all of these other people that are wanting to do the exact same thing that you want to do. And for me, it's really a stepping stone to becoming a leader in your community. And that's what the city and the world is hungry for, right? A strong leadership. And the way that you start is by getting to know your city and how it works, how your department works, right? And developing those strong relationships within the department and with dignitaries across the city. And yes. So I highly encourage you to join us at the next Community Police Academy, which begins September 25th.
Yeah, I'll definitely see if I'm available to join.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
we'd love to have you. And it is a Spanish class, but we do have a lot of bilingual students there. So
that's really great.
If you don't want to wait for the next English class, and if you speak Spanish,
yes.
You're welcome to join.
Awesome. And these are really great resources. And talking about resources and things that we do in the community, can you talk to us about the programs and events that you have going on at the Pasadena Police Department?
We have a large variety of events. And so if you follow us on social media, or if you're included in our email list, you'll find that we can keep you very busy. And so the fall is an incredibly busy time for us. We have National Night Out, Trunk or Treat. We have our Walk for Life, which is, I guess, in remembrance of Suicide Awareness Month. We even have our holiday toy giveaway that we work with Parks and Rec. And we do all of our program, at least we try to, we do it in collaboration with a lot of our community partners. And that's very important to us. And so, for example, our Walk for Life that's coming up in September, and that's going to be on September 18th right there at the Rose Bowl. You can do a stroll around the bowl with Pasadena PD. The activities begin at 5 o'clock. And the actual walk begins at 5:45. Obviously, suicide is not an easy conversation to have. I remember the first time that I did do the walk, I was walking with 3 of my closest friends, and each one of them had experienced suicide at a very personal level. And I couldn't believe it that it was 3 of my closest friends. You don't think about it that way. And so we really want to support those people out there who are maybe having difficulties in their life, and we definitely don't want them to go in that direction. And so this is not only for suicide prevention for our law enforcement officers, but also for people in the community. It's very important to us. So it's
this is a great event. And
it's a great event.
Yes,
it's a great event,
I think
definitely.
I've attended once to that event, and I think it was a really nice event. Again, you mentioned this is a really hard topic to talk about, and some people just don't like to talk about those things. So I'm glad that we're putting events together like that as a city. Talking about events, you also mentioned National Night Out.
Well, National Night Out is actually the Pasadena Police Department's premier event. That's their event that they throw for the entire year. And it's America's Night Out Against Crime. So it's the people taking back the streets and going out and having picnics and celebrations with their neighbors, and really discouraging the crime out in their community and saying, this neighborhood belongs to us. We're going to go out and we're going to take our night back. Right. And so I've been a huge proponent of National Night Out. Like I said, because I was living in a neighborhood that had many quality of life issues. One of the other suggestions that the police department gave us was to throw a block party. Oh. And at the time, I didn't think it was the best idea because we had gang members. And I even told the area lieutenant, I said, but we have gang members on the street. How are we going to throw this block party? And he said, oh, don't worry, they won't show up. And sure enough, they didn't show up. And for the first time in maybe the 5 or 6 years that I had already been living there, I saw children playing on the street.
Nice.
And that makes such a difference. And how often do we go out now and see kids playing on the street, riding the bikes or roller skating or playing with their hula hoop? We don't, right? And so it's just such a wonderful opportunity to take the street back and give it back to the kids.
So how was the National Night Out?
So this year's National Night Out was actually bigger than ever. And we worked really well with our community partners. Our 2 major sponsors are the Pasadena Police Foundation as well as Day One. And we had a lot of activities for the kids. We had treats, we had resource tables, and we had our dignitaries and our chief and our command staff out there greeting guests as they came in. It was really an incredible kickoff to all of the other block parties that were happening in and around the city.
Tell us about the internship program.
We're currently hosting 12 students from the ROSE program here at the City of Pasadena. And our program is fairly unique because not only are the students working with us and working with our officers and working on our programming as well, but we also have incorporated a life skills program with these kids. So they're learning how to write a resume, oral presentation skills, how to carry themselves, how to show up on time, right? And this is a real job for them. And so these kids have really excelled. It's very rewarding for me to watch them when they come in. They're timid. They really don't know what to expect. And they leave with all of the confidence in the world a few weeks later. And so it's just as rewarding for us to watch them grow, just as it is for them as they're growing in their own process. And oftentimes what happens is that these kids become so enthusiastic about law enforcement that they want to come back and work for our agency as well. So we're big proponents of the program, and we encourage any students who are interested in law enforcement to come and join us. And we take a limited number, but if you're interested, apply next year for the Summer Rules program.
Talking about the internship program, what job opportunities is there available at the police department?
There are many opportunities for employment at the Pasadena Police Department. We are an organization of 400 members. I would say more or less about half of them are sworn, and a sworn police officer is someone who goes through the academy, goes through their training, and at the end of when they graduate, they go up to the city clerk and they do a swearing in, and then to protect and serve their community, right?
Yes.
And then we have civilian people like me who don't do that, and we don't wear a uniform. And so that's the difference, the major difference between the two. Okay. And so we have quite a few both sworn and non-sworn opportunities at the police department. The sworn positions, when you think about law enforcement, you often think of our boys in blue, right? That's what people think. That's the first thing that people think. But what they don't realize is the incredible variety of careers within that realm. And so if you become a police officer with the Pasadena Police Department, you can always promote. So you can become a corporal, a sergeant, a lieutenant, a commander, and even a deputy chief or a chief, right? And so you have all this motivation to really do well and do well on all your test taking skills and excel as much as you possibly can, because you constantly want to be able to promote. And there's also a number of specialized positions within the department. So for the non-sworn, we also have quite a few opportunities, right? So there are a number of non-sworn positions or civilian positions that keep the whole entire department running. You can, whatever you dream at the police department, we can probably get it done for you. If you love to run, we even have our Baker to Vegas team, our running team that we run a couple of times a year with, right? So we go to Baker Vegas once a year. I'm even on the running team. I'm proud to say.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It's very cool. And for those of you who are not familiar with Baker to Vegas, it's a law enforcement relay race that happens for 120 miles from Baker all the way to Vegas. And it takes 20 team members from every law enforcement agency to be able to accomplish this. And every person runs a different number of miles, right? And it's a way to encourage health and wellness for our law enforcement community. Sometimes we forget to take care of ourselves, right? Yes. And so this is a way to really kind of put it out there that, hey, you need to take care of yourself so that you can go do this run. Because I run with the Baker to Vegas team, I've also had the opportunity to run for the Torch Run, and the Torch Run is for Special Olympics. So
nice.
Once a year, you'll see our officers running down Colorado Boulevard, and it's to raise funds for our Special Olympics. And
so that's awesome.
We're huge proponents of Special Olympics. Yeah.
Yes. So talking about fundraisers and things that the PD has going on, the annual Chiefs Breakfast. Can you talk to us about that fundraiser and how the community can get involved?
Sure, of course. So, as you know, funds are very difficult to come by, right? And so sometimes we want to do all of these incredible programs, but we just don't have the funds for them. And so the Pasadena Police Foundation is a nonprofit that helps us get all of these programs and events done. And so some of the programs that they support are like our Kids Safety Academy, our Explorers, our Canine unit, our wellness unit for our officers in the community. And these are very important things that need our financial support. And sometimes we just don't have enough of it, through city funds, right? Right? And you know this, right? And so this is the biggest fundraiser for the Pasadena Police Foundation. Every year it's the annual Chiefs Breakfast. It's being held at the Hilton this year on October 15 from 7:30 a.m. to 9 o'clock a.m. Please join. And so you can definitely support in a variety of ways. You can buy a seat, you can buy a table, you can be a major platinum sponsor, you can donate a basket for the auction items. So you can really help us, participate in a variety of ways. And it's really important for us because it really helps us to support those youth programs and our canine programs that wouldn't otherwise be supported if we didn't have those funds.
Definitely. Okay, well, that's a lot of really good information that you shared with us today, Susana. Thank you for coming out on the show.
Sure, my pleasure.
Is there anything else that you feel that is a hot topic that people need to know about right now?
Like I said, one thing that I would like to emphasize is that we have many opportunities for engagement, not only through our events, but also to become part of the police department. And like you, I became engaged with a police department through one of these programs. I never imagined that, more than 25 years later, I would be working for the Pasadena Police Department myself. And so the current position that I have now as a senior communications coordinator has historically been a sworn position. It was just recently changed to an unsworn position. And there were a lot of factors that went into that. But the reason I'm saying it is because there are so many opportunities for growth in this department. And I don't want people to be limited by maybe thinking that there's only police officer jobs, because you could almost be anything you want to be in the Pasadena Police Department. So we encourage you to come and join us either in the future for a career or just to visit us at one of our events.
If people wanted to get more information about the police department, where can they go?
So they can go to our website at cityofpasadena.net/police, or they can go to any of our social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and even Instagram at Pasadena PD.
Thank you, Susana, for coming out and being on the show with us today.
Thank you, Yosio. It was my pleasure.
Up next, we have our Pup-Close and Personal segment with Pasadena Humane.
Hi everyone, my name is Sari. I am here at Pasadena Humane with Grant. He is a very lovable 2-year-old black Labrador retriever. As you can see, he loves his bully stick and receiving lots and lots of affection. He's very food motivated and also loves his belly rubs. He would do best in a home with a big yard, someone who has a very active lifestyle, who can continue working on his behavioral management skills, but also is ready to provide him lots of love and affection. He is a very puppy-like adult dog, so if you're looking for somebody who can keep up with you on your more active lifestyle, but also be a mega couch potato back home with you, Grant might just be the one for you. Come on by Pasadena Humane at 361 South Raymond Avenue, or visit us online or via social media, and come and meet Mr. Grant here.
That's a good boy, Grant. That's a good boy.
If you're looking to adopt, consider Ernest here. He is a very handsome boy who's interested in long walks and long naps. He is a gorgeous 2-year-old brindle mastiff. You can see by his gorgeous coat here that he's got this little confetti pattern, which we just adore. He's a very handsome boy. He came to Pasadena Humane as a stray back in May, and ever since then he's been awaiting his forever home. He would be a great family dog if you have a lot of space, like a yard or a backyard where he can run and enjoy himself to the fullest. He's an incredible love bug, so if you're looking for some affection in your life, he's your boy. Come by 361 South Raymond Avenue to Pasadena Humane, or visit us online if you're interested in adopting, fostering, volunteering, donating, or just coming by to say hi.
Next up on the show, we have Dawn Petschauer with the Pasadena Public Works Department. Welcome to the show, Dawn.
Thanks, Yosio. Thanks for having me.
So I know the Pasadena Public Works Department has a lot of things going on this year, but one of the things that specifically we want to talk about today, stormwater projects. Can you tell us about those projects?
Sure. Yeah, stormwater projects in general aim to reduce pollutants in local waterways that runs through stormwater so that we can improve the water quality. A lot of it is determined by compliance goals for the city, and that originates from local, regional, and federal permits from the Clean Water Act. So all cities, like Pasadena, are subject to an MS4 permit. That's a municipal separate storm sewer system permit. And it regulates stormwater discharges from publicly owned and operated infrastructure. And so the permit requires cities like ours to develop comprehensive stormwater programs that include stormwater capture projects to make sure that we're addressing the water quality concerns in our region.
Yeah, and I know we have some projects recently going on, the Eden and Brookside projects. Can you tell us about that?
Sure, we actually have 6 active projects right now, but we recently solicited some online surveys. So Eat and Wash Stormwater Capture Project is on the east side of the city in District 4, and it's looking at taking an underused parcel that the city owns and capturing water from the Eat and Wash and putting it through a series of treatment facilities while creating new green space above it, which is really exciting. The Brookside Park is underneath Lot I, down by the Rose Bowl. Similarly, it's looking at diverting water from Seco Street Drain, most of District 1 and putting it in a subsurface infiltration gallery while looking at parking lot improvements on the top. And both of those are currently in the design process. So it's really important that we're reaching out to our community and soliciting feedback on the design process.
Okay, and tell us about how the stormwater capture take place. What are the benefits of this project and why are we doing it as a city?
Sure, so stormwater capture projects can vary in size. So those two, for example, are what we call regional projects. So they capture large volumes of water for groundwater storage and recharge. For other projects, they could be distributed. So think a green street or a bioswale where we're taking smaller volumes of water and we're moving it over to a shallow vegetated area to promote infiltration and using vegetation to naturally degrade these pollutants. Vegetation is the key. It doesn't just make things pretty, but absent of the urbanization that we see in our city and the concrete lined channels, we're sort of mimicking what used to happen in our region. And so it naturally attenuates those pollution elements like sediment, debris, heavy metals. It also infiltrates and uptakes nutrients, which is really important. But we also use green infrastructure. So these are hardscape elements like pretreatment, which removes sediment and debris that can be taken out by city staff, dry wells, and permeable pavement, and that allows us to slow sink the water and get that infiltration capabilities that we need.
These are really cool projects that are happening right now. But how does the city fund these projects?
Yeah, so funding is a big element because besides the below ground elements, we often look to doing something on the above ground to provide back to our community. Most of stormwater projects are underground and you can't really see all the hard work they're doing. So for example, in the Eaton, we're providing new park space, a dog park, community gardens. Brookside's doing parking lot improvements and they cost funds. So most of the work that we've done to date has been using Safe Clean Water Program funding. So that is Measure W, if you're not familiar with that. It's a parcel tax that was approved by the voters in 2018. It's 2.5 cents for every square foot of impervious area on your parcel. So your house, your driveway, a pool, and that money gets combined into regional funds, which generates about $280 million a year. And from that, cities like ours can go and apply for competitive grant funding. So that's one resource, and we've done really well. It's taking taxpayer revenue out of our city, and it's our job, or my job, to competitively go after those funds and make sure they come back to our city to be used in our communities. The city also receives some of that tax revenue directly back in the form of local returns. And so those dollars are used to fund my section, other elements of developing these feasibility studies that allow us to go after those big grant funds. But we go after other grants too. We successfully applied for and received funds from Prop 68, as well as Caltrans has been a really key partner for the city in doing cooperative agreements where they provide funding in exchange for us to provide some of the compliance that we get from these projects. So grant funding has been able to facilitate all of this work. To date, we have been awarded $68 million in funding, which is really incredible in just under 3 years. And yesterday, we just applied for 3 additional grants, which will add an additional $25 million to the city if we are awarded it. And that's for the construction of 2 of the projects, as well as a workforce development program, which is really key. So this is providing a curriculum of training for our city staff to be able to maintain these in perpetuity.
How are we planning as a city to maintain these projects?
Sure, so Safe Clean Water Program, or Measure W, was the first grant program that actually provided operation and maintenance funding. So prior to that, cities still were required to develop these projects, but none of the grants provided the funding. And this type of work is not outside the capacity of our staff, it's just outside the knowledge and training that they have. And it's not just our city, it's across the region. It's really a critical gap in the ability to maintain these, which if they're not maintained will quickly degrade the water quality again as we once had. So for me, developing a workforce training program I think is crucial to our city moving forward in a direction that allows our city staff to come up to speed and be able to utilize their skill set to maintain these programs. And we're doing it in conjunction with several other departments. So Department of Housing has MASH, which is a Municipal Assistance and Solution Hiring. It's a 40-plus year successful workforce development program that they've had in place. And what we're looking at doing is building on an additional tier that is specific to green infrastructure projects. Department of Parks and Recs are also really excited because they want their staff to be able to maintain these projects. And so we're really excited to get that started and looking forward to getting the funds to make that happen.
a little bit more about the information regarding these projects, where can people go for community meetings or more information about the projects themselves?
Yeah, so community outreach and engagement is the cornerstone of these projects in our program. It's so important that as we move through the design process, that we're meaningfully engaging our community and getting the voices and the ideas of the communities that these projects will serve. So part of our project development is developing a very robust and comprehensive outreach and engagement strategy to really diversify our ability to reach out to community members and solicit their feedback. So some of the things that we've done recently, besides the online surveys, which I think is really important because we, again, receive responses that some of our community was unable to attend the meetings that we had. So that allows people to provide feedback at any given time through a period that comes directly to myself and my staff. We've also done key stakeholder meetings, direct engagement for adjacent property owners, environmental groups, or key stakeholders that are directly involved with the project in its proximity to their location, and those have been very successful. We've done in-person meetings, and I know you've attended one like you mentioned. Thank you for your support. Those allow us to meet the community where they typically gather, usually around the project. So we've done that at community centers, we've done that at local parks, and recently did one at a farmer's market, which was really incredible. People on Saturday morning, they want to stop and talk far more than during the week, so that was really nice to see. And we also did a trash cleanup where we integrated a project development as well to get feedback. So during these meetings, we also provide design boards and other interactive activities and displays. And what this does is help community members who may not understand stormwater capture visualize them through illustrative use, whether it's the stormwater capture elements or it's the park amenities or just the different site alternatives that we're recommending. We think this gives them an idea of what we are proposing, and that helps hopefully to allow them to provide better feedback to us.
Are there any other big projects that Public Works is working on right now and some things that you guys are excited about?
Yeah, like I said, we have 6 active projects. So besides Eaton and Brookside, which are currently in about the 30 to 60% design, which is exciting, we have 2 projects that actually are already at 100% design. So the Aurora Seco Water Reuse Project is a partnership with the City of South Pasadena. It's over in the border of District 1 and 6, and it's looking at addressing critical bacteria compliance issues in the San Rafael Creek. So that one, like the Eaton Wash, is taking a site that the city owns but is currently sort of underutilized, and it's diverting water from San Rafael channel over into a series of constructed wetlands. And so currently on the site, it's not accessible to the public. So not only is this addressing water quality, but it's creating new green space. So it'll now be accessible to the community. It'll expand the trail space in the Arroyo, which we know our community is very fond of. And in South Pasadena, there'll be a similar wetland site that'll also be now accessible to the community. So that's really exciting. It's currently going through some additional environmental review, but we're hoping that we will be constructing by later next year. And then outside of that, we also have the Sierra Madre Median Enhancement Project. So this is in District 4. Again, this was really a site that the community has been looking at improving for about 15 years. So prior to my time with the city, along Sierra Madre Boulevard, there are these large median spaces that used to belong to the Pacific Rail car lines when they ran through our city and the others, adjacent cities. And so for the past 15 years or so, they've just sort of been sparsely vegetated. They don't do much to provide any community benefits. And so the idea there was really an enhanced urban greening corridor. There's Pasadena High School on one end and you have Field Elementary on the other. So there's a bike path. It's really well utilized as an active corridor for our community, but it's also a heavily urbanized corridor because we have 3 streets going on either direction. And so we're putting in the proposed, I believe, over 600 new trees while also intercepting dry weather flows and adding bioretention areas to really just overall beautify that corridor area, which is really exciting.
Yes, that sounds super exciting. I love trees in Pasadena, especially growing up in Pasadena.
Yes.
That is one feature about Pasadena that I really enjoy.
And that community we know just went through the Eaton fire, which was
Yes.
quite devastating. And so
It is.
providing this enhanced screening will also aim to address some of the long-term impacts that we may see from the fires. And besides that, we have 2 additional projects. So Washington Park received over $13 million in funding for design and construction. The park itself is beautiful. We're looking at adding some below-ground infiltration galleries to intercept water from the east side storm drain and some park improvements, even though it's already a gorgeous park. So we're starting on that hopefully this September. And then Jefferson Park is another city park that's just north of the 210. We received feasibility study funds, so that's sort of pre-design. We haven't really developed a concept, so I'm excited to work with the community and Councilmember Cole to really identify the community needs there and their voices as we work together to create a concept that we can move forward with.
That's really great. And I hear that you recently won an award. Congratulations. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, CASPA, the California Stormwater Quality Association, holds a national conference. It's the biggest in North America for stormwater. It's only ever held in California. So typically it goes on a 3-year basis, San Diego and Northern California, and they haven't quite found a landing spot in the Los Angeles region because it's quite expensive. So it's been Palm Springs and San Bernardino, but I talked to the director last year, and for the first time ever, it's being hosted in the city of Pasadena, which is exciting for our city. So it'll be at the Convention Center September 15th through 17th of this year. Anyone can register. There'll be a lot of technical presentations. We ourselves submitted abstracts and were accepted for 5 presentations on the incredible work we're doing, which is exciting. And we were nominated and received the award for the Best Stormwater BMP Implementation Program, which is just an incredible honor. I've been with the city just under 3 years, so I'm the first stormwater program administrator for the city, and we now have a stormwater section. So we are excited to accept the awards from Public Works and just continue to move forward with doing great things in stormwater.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And then I wanted to ask, if someone wanted to get more information about these projects, just online, where can we find more information on that?
Yeah, so each of the project has a dedicated web presence because we think it's important if you want information on a project in your district that you can go to the website portal and you can understand all the information, the scope and objectives, and all of the materials that are provided at the outreach material meetings can be found there as well in 2 languages. But outside of that, you can go directly to cityofpasadena.net /Public Works, and under the construction page, you can also reach the project website. To make it easier on the community, because we get asked a lot holistically about the projects, we are in the process of developing a public website attached to the Public Works Department specifically for stormwater. Because even though the projects are really exciting, there's a lot of other elements of our program, such as compliance-based, catch basin cleaning, outreach and engagement, and so we want to make sure the community has direct access to everything that involves stormwater management.
Thank you, Dawn, for being here. We appreciate you coming on the talk show.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me. Public Works is really excited about everything we're doing.
Up next, we have our Shop Local segment. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Shop Local, where we'll be highlighting some of the amazing businesses you can find here in the city of Pasadena and the entrepreneurs who make them so special.
Woon originated as a pop-up in 2014, and in 2019 is when we decided to actually pull the trigger on opening our first brick and mortar location in Filipino Town. We're able to open a second location in Pasadena, which is where I was born and raised, so this is kind of a homecoming. I have a family now, and it's really nice to be back in Pasadena and opening in my hometown. It's pretty cool how it came full circle. This whole place is kind of a reflection of my life of being Chinese American, like being Chinese but born in Pasadena. It's kind of that melting pot of what it means to be, you know, born and raised here, but growing up with a little bit of traditional Chinese influence and a little bit of American influence. At the end of the day, like, I am the first of our generation to experience like what it means to be Chinese American. And there's really no definition for it. What we're doing is not like super traditional Shanghainese food. It's not super traditional Cantonese food. It's kind of just like what we grew up around. But the root of it, the core menu that you see for lunch and dinner is really rooted from my mom's original recipes, which in itself is not traditional because she immigrated here. One day I was like, I'd really like to tell like a true, authentic story. And for me, that was always telling the story of like my mom and her immigration pattern, like being born in Shanghai, grew up in Hong Kong, immigrated to LA in her teens. And that's where she really figured out how to teach herself how to cook like the food that she remembers. And as she got older, she started cooking for myself and my sister and kind of tailoring the food towards our tastes. it's always been about food for us, and telling that story through food just made a lot of sense. My mom always dreamt of having like a little noodle shop and like being like the mascot for it. She never thought it'd come to reality, but once I told her I was gonna do it, she was like, are you sure? And I was like, too late, I'm already doing it. I feel like growing up in Los Angeles, she kind of borrowed from everything, so there's a little bit of Taiwanese inspiration as well, but at the end of the day, what it really is like our comfort food, like my sister and my comfort food growing up. It's like the stuff that we really craved when coming back home. So we sell a ton of the noodles, the stir-fried, thick, chewy Shanghainese style noodles on a daily basis. That's kind of what we're known for. Our brunch menu is a completely different menu, but it's inspired by, Cantonese, Taiwanese, Shanghainese, but kind of blended in with what I like, growing up. It's an honor to be in Pasadena, especially in this specific North Pasadena neighborhood. I think since the fires, it has been a little rough, especially since it took us 2 years to get this place built and open. We opened December 30th, and we had a line around the block every day up until the day of the fires. And after the fires, it turned into kind of a ghost town. So it's taken a while to kind of rebuild that audience and that volume back to where we want it to be. So we decided to launch a brunch menu to allow people to explore and visit us out here in Pasadena. For us, it's done really well, and it's allowed us to also be creative, allow the team to be creative and change it up, and bring in the volume on the weekends and the visitors on the weekends that we really needed. And hopefully those people will also try and visit us on the weekdays with our regular menu during lunch and dinner as well. First time at Woon off the lunch and dinner menu, for sure the beef noodles. If you don't eat beef, the veggie noodles are just as good. They're also vegan. Our pork belly bao, my mom's 5-spice chicken wings, our scallion pancakes, which are made by our dough team on a daily basis. Come in for a dessert. We do these little fried ice cream baos, which are mini ice cream sandwiches. We also have some unique drinks. We have a Hong Kong coffee, which is half tea, half coffee with some condensed milk. Come check it out. I promise you, you will enjoy your experience, and hopefully you will come back and enjoy. There's something for everyone.
Thank you for joining us for the show. And remember, stay in focus.